This week, for our Sarah J. Maas Small Business Showcase, we want to introduce you to Celestial Fairy Trove. This small shop has everything you need to read in comfort and style. We are in love with their Kindle cases, and they have blankets from all the Sarah J. Maas series. Make sure you check out their Etsy shop to snag all of your ACOTAR, Throne of Glass, and Crescent City themed merch. You can use Goodish Girls 20, that's Goodish Girls 20, at checkout for 20% off. All right, Madison, who is your book boyfriend of the day?
The book boyfriend of the day is going to be Dorian because I need a prince with a developed prefrontal cortex.
That's a good choice. And what is something that Dorian would never do?
Dorian just would straight up never. Dorian is Angel Baby.
He would never do anything wrong.
There is a shirt that I've been looking at on Etsy that literally says Dorian would never, and he wouldn't.
And he wouldn't.
He wouldn't.
You are right. You are
'Cause
100% right. I love it.
Because last week I said Carden. I finished The Wicked King. Carden, if I see you, Carden, it's on
I
sight.
throw hands. Throwing hands. Oh my gosh. For those who are just listening to this show, Madison is violent today. She raised a fist to the screen.
I went to bed in a rage.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, warning for those who have not read The Cruel Prince. Get ready, because I think you might
mad about it in the
trauma
comments.
bond with her.
Yeah.
Yes, trauma bond with Madison over this fictional man.
Let's talk about how dumb Carden is, because I'm ready to see his answer behind his doing, because the answer is going to be rich.
Yeah.
Who was
That's
your
funny.
book boyfriend of the day?
Ooh, Luther from the Everflame series.
I haven't read that one yet.
Oh,
I see it everywhere.
He's so great. He's fabulous.
Wait, is that the one that we talked about last week or no?
I
think you brought up Lightlark.
Yes.
Question mark?
Grim. Grim from
that was
Lightlark was mine last week, and he would also never.
Carden would.
Carden would. Bye, Carden. R.I.P. you. Bye, boy.
Trash.
Yes. And Luther would never wear dirty boots in the house. He would take off his shoes.
That is a pet peeve of mine. Anytime, every time I finish sweeping, someone walks through wearing shoes. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Luther would never. And this is a nod to my husband who wears dirty boots in the house.
No tea, no shade.
I know you're listening to this. I know you listen.
Shade, but take off your shoes.
No shade. Your name's not Luther, but it could be. Stop wearing your boots in the house.
We listen and we don't judge, except if you wear boots in the house.
Then we're judging. Take off your shoes.
Feral
animals
shoes in the house.
Welcome to the Goodish Girls, guys. I'm Dallas.
I'm Madison.
And we are here with Crescent City. Woohoo!
Boop, boop, boop.
We are, if you have not listened to the previous 2 episodes, please go back and listen to those. So that way you are caught up with what is happening. If you are just getting here and you've watched the other 2 episodes, this is a reminder that we are doing things a little bit differently than a normal deep dive, because we are guiding you through, this is a guided tour of Crescent City. So each week we are covering a series of chapters. With those series of chapters, we are not jumping ahead in the book. So there is not spoilers for the whole book during the first chunk of this episode, because we know that some of our Sarah J. Maasverse friends are hesitant to read this book, or sometimes it can be a little overwhelming. Someone described it to me as they felt like they were being waterboarded the other day. And I said, don't worry. I've got you. We've got you. We're going to guide you through all the things. We're going to break down the houses. We're going to remind you what characters belong to who, all of the things. So as you're going through, you have basically a lovely map of the area. So today we are covering chapters 14 through 19. So if you have read through chapter 19, you are good. If you have not, pause, go back and listen and or read those chapters, and then come back and hang out with us and we'll go through all the things. However, at the end of each episode, for our Sarah J. Maas friends who have read this series and do want to get into the crazy theories and lore that we have going on, we have what's called the House of Theory and Lore. We are taking you deep into all of the Sarah J. Maas. So we are going to be talking about Crescent City for sure, but we're also going to be connecting dots between Throne of Glass and Akatar, things like that. So you are welcome to stick around for that if you have read the series or if you just don't care about spoilers and you want to be there for the vibes. That's okay. You may not understand exactly what's happening, but that's totally fine. You hang out, you do you. So let's do it. Chapter 14. Here we go. Start us off, Mads.
Quick note, because it pops in my head every single time. Every time you're like, we're gonna go on a guided tour of Crescent City, I always think of like the people in theme parks that have like the microphone and the speaker and like the little flag, and they're like, okay guys, like follow me.
Follow me.
We're gonna go to the
or like
Central
I'm on a
Business
bus.
District. Yeah.
Like the big 2-story buses, and I have like my mic on.
Buses.
And this right here is Lunathian.
Over here we have Griffin Antiques. Don't talk to Jezebel. She'll turn you to an animal.
Don't even look at Jezebel. Don't look her way. Everyone wink at Athalar.
Ugh.
Yes, that's exactly the vibe I want to give up. I'm glad it's working. Amazing. Chapter 14. Let's do it.
Now I feel like I need a little mic. Okay, guys. Now we're going to go to the Autumn King's library / study.
You know what's funny is that you actually have a mic in front of you. You can just hold it if it makes you feel better.
Yeah, but I feel like, oh gosh, what is the one specific thing? That, oh gosh, the lady in the Lizzie McGuire movie, whenever they go to Italy.
Oh, yes.
I feel like I need one of those. Like the little...
I wore one of those yesterday in real life.
Really?
Yes. I did a presentation at work and I like put on my little mic and I had the box and I was like walking around like
I have a love-hate relationship with those because like every now and then I'll be talking but like
nothing comes out of the speaker. There was times where I would like talk and then I would like start talking and I was like, oh, I can't hear it. And then I have to like move the mic again and I was like, okay, now can you hear me?
Yeah, or sometimes because those little mic boxes, they are loved until they die. Like sometimes I would be like sitting in specific spots and you would just hear like this like nails on chalkboard like screeching. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry.
No. Oh, I hate that. That did not happen yesterday, thankfully, but no. it might one day.
I don't like the little things. There was one time we had like almost like a little karaoke thing. We had like an actual microphone. Loved that. However, it did not survive in Antarctica very well, so it did not live long.
R.I.P. Miss you, Mike.
Gone but never forgotten.
Never forgotten. Rest in peace, my friend. Technology is the worst. I hate it. It's literally my downfall. If I could run this podcast and never use technology, it would be amazing.
That would be phenomenal.
One day, we're going to have a tech guy or girl. A tech person to help me with all of the technology.
I'm like accidentally good at technology. Like I remember I was in, oh gosh, I think it was like in 8th grade. And I had like this teacher who did not understand technology. And it would be like simple little fixes. And so I became like the tech person. So anytime she couldn't figure anything out, she'd be like, Madison, I need your help. And I'm like, okay, can't promise I'll know things. I'm just like randomly just like touching and poking things and it works. And she's like, how'd you do that? I'm like, couldn't tell you.
Oh man.
Tell you.
That's like being the braid person. Like once you tell a group that you can braid hair, you're like the person.
Yep.
I don't tell anybody that I can braid hair.
That was my sister. Whenever she played volleyball in high school, she was the one who braided everyone's hair, but no one knew how to braid. So she was the only one.
She never got her hair braided. She had to do it herself. Yeah.
And I was forced to learn how to braid hair because of that. She was like, you're going to sit here and you're going to braid my hair. And I did learn, but for whatever like reason, I don't know what power above made this happen. But like if I braided someone's hair for like the first year, I could French braid other people's hair. But if I tried to French braid my own hair, it would always turn into a Dutch braid, and I couldn't figure out why. But now I can French braid my own hair, and I don't know how to go back to the Dutch braid.
Oh, that's funny. I can show you.
Okay. Because I know it's like instead of going, I think like under, you go, oh, I don't know. I did it accidentally.
So under for Dutch, over for French. And then under for Dutch, so it pushes the hair like up.
Interesting.
Not like a Rumi braid from K-pop Demon Hunters, but like kind of like that.
That's not even a Dutch braid.
It's like a fancy dragon braid with rubber bands
Mhm.
and stuff, but, like, the look of it is somewhat
Dutch, yeah.
similar as far as, like, because a French braid's, like, inward. So, yes,
Mhm.
that's fair.
Love Rumi.
Alright, here we go.
Sorry, focused.
Start us off, chapter 14.
Okay, for real, we are actually
The
in
listeners
the
forgot why we're here.
for real, we are actually in the Autumn King's study/library. For whatever reason, whenever I picture a library, my brain automatically goes to the library in Beauty and the Beast. Couldn't tell you why, because it's not described in that way in the slightest.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
it's fine. But his library or his study/library does happen to have like 2 stories worth of bookshelves. He also has artifacts new and old, magic and non-magic. Dare I say he might give Jezebel a run for her money. I feel like
He's
if
got a
you
lot going
combine
on.
like what Jezebel has and what he has, like that
Mhm.
would be unstoppable and dangerous. Um, he also has this thing. It's called, I pronounced it an Ori. I don't know how
I think
you
that's right.
pronounced it. Okay,
I think
we're
that's
gonna go
right.
with it. Which is something he is obsessed with and that he will obsess with throughout the series. And it
Mhm.
essentially is a painting on the ceiling that depicts their solar system with 7 planets, their suns, and their moons.
Mhm.
Um, and Rune was actually obsessed with this for a while, and then he found out his dad was trash. And anytime he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" and his dad was just like, "I'm studying patterns." And Rune's like, "You want to elaborate?" And the king's like, "No."
No.
I'm
Do you
good.
wanna
Thanks for asking,
help?
though.
Not really.
It's like, I'm not gonna elaborate on what I'm doing, but, like, if you'd like to give me a piece of your light, like,
Oh my
I guess
gosh.
that's cool.
That man, I cannot. He's the
Um,
worst.
but this chapter is all through Rune's perspective, so we get everything from his perspective. We also learn, or I should say reiterate, the social hierarchy again.
Mhm.
So if you're tired of it, too bad, I'm gonna explain it again.
Too
So you
bad.
have the Asteri who rule. They are the top dogs. Under the Asteri, like we learned last week, they have the archangels who also go by governors, and they are specifically chosen by the Asteri and bred by the Asteri. So aside from the Asteri, like I mentioned, you have archangels slash governors, and they rule their specific region of the planet. And within the archangels ruling, their kind of form of police officers, if you will, is the 33rd. So the 33rd responds specifically to the archangels, and each region has their own number, I'll say. Because like we learned last episode, whenever Hunt was doing that rebellion with Shahar, I believe that one was the 31st. Um, so everyone has their own numbers, but the number people respond to the archangel people.
Mhm.
And then under archangels, you have the city heads, which rule over their specific district. So whenever you're looking at your fun little map in Crescent City, if you are one of those people that do refer to maps, every single place has a city head. So for the Autumn King, for example, he is the city head of Five Roses, which did not click to me whenever Rune was talking about this. He mentioned Fyro, and I'm like, what the heck is Fyro? And I was looking at my map, and he's like, Five Roses. That was a little unnecessary, but okay, buddy.
So I feel like you're probably not the only one. I feel like there was a lot of people who are like, hold on, like Fyro, that's probably a different place. But like, if you now know Fyro, Five Roses,
Because I was looking so hard in the map. I
you're
was
just
like,
like,
what the
where
heck
is
is
Fyro?
Fyro? And then I saw Five Roses. I'm like, got it.
That's so
Also,
funny.
Five Roses. Is that not okay? Because we talked about it the first episode where
Mm-hmm.
Bryce goes on a date with Reed. Did
Mm-hmm.
she just say Five Roses? And it's the district? Because I thought like it was a place, like a restaurant. Maybe I'm just dumb
Mm.
and it just didn't click. Because
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'm not a person that like if I read about something, I'm like, hold on, let me turn to my map real quick. I raw dog it and just go by ear. Um,
That's funny. I'm very big map girl. So I'm like, even when I'm writing this episode, I'm like, pull down my map, pull down my map.
no, see, whenever I read a fantasy book, I will like flip through the pages. I'll see the map. I'll appreciate the art. I'm like, oh, that's cute. Now into the story, and I'll just like, should I reference the map? Probably. It'd probably help with a lot. Case in point, Fyro.
Oh my god. I think
But
if an author ever listens to this, they're gonna cringe. They're gonna be like, I designed these maps to help you.
Sally. Sally.
And they're
Listen,
like,
I think the
no.
only time I like religiously used a map is whenever I was reading the Empyrean series, just because things happen and I'm trying to
Hmm.
Scooby Doo and find out all the things and figure the things out before the next book releases. And so I'm like trying to pinpoint like full like crime show. I got my board, I got my pins, I got my string.
Pins and strings. Yeah. I got pins and strings in here for Crescent City and Quicksilver, obviously. I always have pins and strings going on over there. Little sticky notes everywhere.
maybe
That's so
I'll
funny.
maybe I'll learn to do pins and strings in the future.
Do it. Yeah. Five roses, Fyro. Same. Now we
Yes.
know.
But the city heads, they are appointed specifically by Micah. So every city head for that district is appointed by their specific archangel. And just
Hmm.
like the archangels, they have their own police force, which is the 33rd. Each city head has an ox that obeys them. An ox
Hmm.
is essentially another police division, but it's divided by districts and divided by species.
Like the
So
SWAT teams.
exactly. So Rune is the head of the Fey Ox division, but Danica, R.I.P. Queen, she was the head of like the Pax Ox. Um, but yeah, that is another breakdown of that hierarchy. But we learn more about Rune and his backstory while he is
Hmm.
debriefing the king on this case. Um, So, fun facts about him. Again, he's head of the Ox. He's been that for the past 15 years. Did a little math to find out that he made the drop at 25. Um, and essentially, the drop again is whenever you go into yourself to make this drop into your magical source. And then after that, you have to make your way back up, or you risk death.
Hmm.
But he made that drop and he got so close to his dad's own power, but just like a little bit of less. And Rune's
Yeah.
like, you know what? Honestly, that's fine because I've seen what dear old dad does to enemies and I'd rather not be on that side. So, like, if I have a little bit of less, that's fine. However, he does come out on top because he is Starborn Fae, which is something that his dad is not.
Hmm.
Um, but Rune is also one of 12 princes that make up the Fae, and Rune is the only starborn Fae out of all of them. Um, and essentially, whenever in Fae culture for Crescent City, they go through two great rites. So one of them is at age 13, whenever they go see the oracle and they get a reading
Hmm.
of their future that happens, and then either a few years or maybe a few decades they have something called an ordeal, and that could be something as easy as combating an illness or killing a monster. For Rune, he does his ordeal, and we'll learn more about his ordeal in a few chapters, but that is something that he has also completed. But we learn more about his relationship with Bryce, and even though to the world they think Bryce and Rune are cousins, we know that they are siblings. And we learn about the first time that Bryce actually visits the Autumn King in his court, and she was 13 years old.
Hmm.
Um, so she essentially visited the same time she had her ordeal. Um, and for whatever reason, goes to the Oracle, visits, has a falling out with dear old dad. And Rune just remembers seeing her just storm off, not even bothering to look back. Rune tries to visit periodically 3 years after all that, but eventually they have a little disagreement. Words were said, regrets were had, but that's essentially the last time that Bryce and Rune visited until then. Um, we also learn that within Rune's lineage, he possesses more Avalon traits, which he got from his mom, more than his dad's Valbaran traits. So that's where the Valbaran is where his dad's firepower comes from, which Rune at this point has had zero showings of that, but he does
Hmm.
have fun little shadow powers, and he can walk through shadows and manipulate them, which is
So can
very,
we
very
call him a
cool.
shadow daddy then? Because I know there was
100%.
like there there was like conflict of like who is technically shadow daddy, who is not shadow daddy. But I
Rune
think
is
he
shadow
falls
daddy.
under. Rune is shadow daddy. We can call him that. Amazing.
Certified shadow daddy.
Certified, stamped, approved.
Approved. um, but we also learned a little bit about Rune's mom, which I think is very interesting, and I think that we gloss over it too much. Like
So quickly.
I feel like we need to know more because we
Mhm.
learn that Rune's mom was like specifically chosen to produce an heir with the Autumn King. And there's been
Mhm.
many girls before and after her, but she's the only one that has like been specifically chosen, which I
Yes.
find very interesting. And not only that,
Right?
she's actually a nice person. Like Rune
Mhm.
talks about how nice and kind she is, and that even I think at one point, even Bryce meets his mom, and Rune even says that his mom was like almost doting on Bryce. And I'm like, can we meet your mom? Hello?
Hello, can we Rune? We'd like to meet your mother.
Can we just like forget dad?
We are
Like,
take home to mom girls.
yeah, take home to mom. um
Yeah.
um one thing that also took me like for a complete just like blew my mind is Rune Dannon is 75 years old.
Are you saying this because you think he should be younger or because you think he should be older?
Older. Like 75
Okay.
is too real of a number.
He's just a baby.
But that's too real of a number. Like if he was like 575, like
Yeah.
ideal. Like 175 is like still almost like uncomfy, but like 300 and above, that's okay. But like strictly like 75, I'm just like, huh,
Just a
okay.
boy.
He's just a boy, but
Just a boy.
75 is too real. That's like too real. I'm all for age gap, but
Like,
75 too
yeah.
real. Make
I
it
mean,
300 and above.
300. He's going to get there eventually.
He will get there eventually, but for my sanity, he needs to get there faster.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't think I put a lot of thought into that, like his age.
I sure didn't. I don't even think I clocked it the first time I read the book that he was
75.
75. I'm just like, oh, he's Faye. He's old, but looks young. So it's fine.
I would like to know if it makes others uncomfortable. So if you're listening to this,
Sure
does
makes
Rune
me.
Dannon's age make you uncomfortable? Let us know.
Yes.
Should it be 300 or above? Is there a different age that you would like? Tell us. Let's put it to a vote.
Please.
I will make my decision when I hear everyone else's thoughts because I don't have one. I don't know if it makes me
Your
uncomfortable or
dome
not.
got really high, so I feel like you do have one.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna think
Maybe,
about
but
it.
classified.
It needs to it's classified. It needs to simmer a little bit. I need to like let it sink in a little bit and then I'll let you guys know.
I feel like for the rest of the book, I was just like la 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 Rune 75, and then just let it go off into the distance and forget
Is
about
that
it.
why he's still like cuz he like is he parties a lot too? Like is that why? Do you think cuz he's still like a young he's still young?
I don't even know. Because I
That's
also
a
like maybe that also has to do with him like having made the drop at 25. Like maybe he still has that young person mentality. I don't
yeah.
know.
Again, if I made the drop, I would make it a 30. 30 is a good age for a drop.
30, flirty, and thriving is where I want to live
Yes.
at.
Drop at 30. Done. Set. Yes.
Anywho, after fixating on Rune's age, because wow. We learn that like is Rune working for the Autumn King? Yes.
Mhm.
However, the Autumn King is like holding information from Rune, such as Rune is saying like, hey, big things are going down, and kind of gives him a little debrief of what he's learned with the case so far.
Mhm.
And the Autumn King is like, yeah, I got a letter. And like Briggs isn't the murderer. And Rune's like, what do you mean? Were you gonna say this when? Um, but the Autumn King is like his main priority right now is fixating on his little experiments. And specifically, he is looking and studying on how light moves through the world and how it changes shapes.
Mm-hmm.
And he specifically records it in the old forgotten language from the Northern Rift, which is very, very interesting. And we also get mentions of the old forgotten language quite a bit throughout the series.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
but
it's really
throughout,
something to keep your minds on.
yeah, just keep your eye on that. Um, but as Ruin is like trying to like do business, the Autumn King's like, "Hey, can I borrow some of your starlight?" And Rune's like, "Fine." And so he gives him a little bit of his starlight, puts it in a prism. Um, is Rune Starborn Fae? Yes. However, his light source very itty bitty. So
Mm-hmm.
he like has
Yes.
to dig through those shadows, pull out a little kernel, and holding and honing that light is not something he's great at. So he's only able to hold it for a little bit. And the Autumn King gets frustrated, which boo you. Um, because he's also trash. Put him on the list with Cardin.
Oh my god.
um, but during this time, he gets frustrated, and then he also is like, murder case, sure, but more like important kingly things is also telling Rune, like, hey, think it's about time that you get married and produce an heir. And Rune's like, no, thank you. And the king brings up Rune's oracle reading saying that Rune is supposed to be a fair and just king, and him getting married is only going to put his oracle reading like faster into the future, make it more solidified. And
Mm-hmm.
so the king tells Rune that there is a young witch whose mother died and she's supposed to be recognized as the new queen. And so Rune is kind of, I guess, commanded in a way that he must marry this new queen witch in order
Mm-hmm.
to secure an alliance for a war that is happening across the continent. So, from dear old dad, Rune's task is to get married, make sure Bryce doesn't get into any more trouble with this whole thing. And he also never refers to Bryce as Bryce. She's always that girl to dear old dad. And he also wants Rune to specifically find the horn. The horn,
Mm-hmm.
we learned, was actually a relic of Fey culture. And Rune is very puzzled as to why the king would want this. And because he's like, it's been in this museum, it doesn't work, it doesn't do anything. And dad says that it's essentially a symbol, and symbols have power of their own. So he wants Rune to find this, and he thinks that Rune will be able to find it because the horn once belonged to Peleos, who was the first starborn prince. And he says a line that is very, very familiar in the SJM verse, and that is, "You will see that like calls to like."
Yes. That one right there is important. Paleos is important. Like calls to like. If you, I don't think I've ever met anybody that has started the Massverse with Crescent City, but if you are, that's okay. You do you, boo. Um, but yes, like calls to like. Keep
Because
that
I
in mind.
know for sure it's in this series.
Mm-hmm.
I can't recall if it's in Throne of Glass or not. It has to be, but I can't think of like a specific instance. Um, but dear old dad says that, and Rune is about to leave. So again, dad, make sure Bryce is out of trouble, find the horn, and you're gonna get married because this solidifies your reading that you're gonna be a fair and just king. However, Rune lets it slip that that is just a fake reading that he gave his dad, because his real reading that we do not know the true meaning of is that the oracle told him that the royal bloodline will end with you. And that is where the chapter ends, on that very big cliffhanger.
The royal bloodline will end with you.
What do you mean?
If you did the audiobook, it's kind of a creepy line. Like the way
Honestly,
that
yeah.
she says it. She's like, the
It's very
royal bloodline
ominous.
will end with you. So gravelly. Yes. So sketchy. Yes. King Autumn has no idea what's really happening. He thinks that he
Nope.
does. He does not. So that kind of wraps up chapter 14. With chapter 15, we're back with Bryce, right? So Bryce is trying to settle in and take a moment to relax at home in her apartment. We learn that Juniper and Fury both now know about Philip Briggs' innocence in the Pax murders. They are not aware, though, that Bryce has any involvement in this case. She mentions that both of her friends have, again, been less than present since the Pax passing, which we kind of noted earlier, but that still has not changed. As she looks outside and notes her surroundings after Syrinx begged to go outside, we see a large angel on the opposite rooftop looking broody as ever. Hunt Athalar sat atop that roof as an order from the governor for protection duty to keep Bryce safe. Bryce, however, does not believe that this was true and that she is still more of a suspect than anything else, right? It's like he's more to like keep an eye on her. Side note, Syrinx is the most dramatic character in this entire series. He's so dramatic. Like
Interesting.
during this chapter, like, and I say that, and I know Lahaba, but I say this
Yeah.
because he, in this scene that like when they're rereading it through, he's like scratching at the glass and he's huffing and puffing around because she's like, "You just went for a walk, bro. You just went outside." And he's like, "Me." And he like sits on the couch and like puffs down. Like he's so dramatic.
I mean, I feel like that's just classic dog behavior. Cause like even my dog, like I'll have taken him out and then I just think he's almost spoiled because I feel like Bryce would spoil him.
Oh, for
Because like
sure.
my dog, he will like sit at the door and whine and like it's just like one of those screen doors so he can see
Mhm.
outside and he will whine until you open the door. I'm like, you really just wanted like the wind on your face?
The
Was this really
drama,
necessary? And he'll just like look at me or
the
he'll whine
fresh
to go
air.
outside and I'll let him outside and he'll take like literally 2 steps and sit and just lift his head and close his eyes. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
That's so dramatic though, right? Like I will die on this hill.
I think it's just because it's a
So
product of being
dramatic.
spoiled.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Syrinx the whole time. So dramatic. So as Bryce closes the curtains now that she had previously opened, she gets a text from Hunt telling her to open the curtains because the Angel of Death wants to watch TV. He's bored up there, okay? He wants to watch Sunball, but the dating show that is on the screen will do for now. I cackled at this. She notes to herself that Hunt is, again, not there by choice. He is a slave and he has to listen to whatever order he is given, right? As all slaves do. So she asked how he even got her number in the first place. He was like, it was in your file. Okay, sure. We again kind of switch over because she's like, well, did you talk to Rune yet? Like about anything? She kind of changes the subject, right? So we learn that the angels did go to Rune and double check the alibi, which is ridiculous because they have all the camera footage. They know exactly what happened. So I don't know what they were doing. But I guess that's just part of being the angel police. They have to like check all the boxes. So in this chapter, it is one of the first times that Hunt calls her sweetheart. And we all cringe during this moment, including Bryce,
What?
because it's not like sweetheart. It's like, okay, sweetheart. Like he says it in such a
I don't care.
condescending.
I
In the
still
book,
squealed and giggled.
Bryce is like, absolutely not. And I was like, yeah, girl, absolutely not.
No, I was there for it.
Absolutely not. No. He's saying it to be mean. Like, all right, sweetheart. I was like, no, I'm with you, Bryce. Okay, maybe everybody except for Madison. So during this time in the apartment, both Hunt and Bryce get snippy with each other, like texting each other back and forth, being like so rude to each other, right? And Bryce reminds Hunt that she was asked to head this case up and that he is technically the backup. LOL. You're hello, Umbra Mortis, Shadow of Death. You're literally my backup. Relax. So as Bryce goes to open up the curtains once again to look at Hunt across the way, Hunt notes Syrinx, right, the Chimera, and her apartment, both a very high value. In this moment, we are looking at it from, again, Hunt's perspective, the rich party girl who doesn't care about anything or anyone. But keep these little details in mind because these will come up at a later date. So I'm not going to tell you why, but just know that it's there. So she now has Hunt's phone number, right? And he tells her to call if she's in danger or needs something, like a pizza. And he flips her off because he's like, call me if you need me. And she's like, you could be a pizza delivery boy. And he straight gives her the middle finger. So the two
She
are still
deserved it.
Oh, it was so funny though. So worth it. The two are still texting each other with level 10 sass, and Bryce dares to tell the Umbra Mortis kindly fly the fuck off. And then he leaves the roof across the street and flies right to her balcony. Girl is like, what do you want, bro? And as they're arguing, she mentions that she tastes ether in the air. This is not the first time we will hear this, right? So, and I was like, what does that mean? Because if not everybody knows what ether is, okay? I really didn't. I was like, I feel like I've heard the word before, but I didn't actually
Mhm.
understand what that meant. So I looked it up. Here we go. Good old internet says it is a pleasant smelling, colorless, volatile liquid that is highly flammable. It is used as an anesthetic or a solvent in the industrial process. So it smells sweet, it's volatile, it's flammable. As opposed to like chloroform, right, which is another chemical that when I was looking up and like researching it, kind of compared it to a little bit, which is also somewhat sweet smelling and volatile, but not flammable. So when
Interesting.
Hunt gets like amped up, right, with his lightning powers, he kind of gives off a little bit of like ether in the air.
I
So
just imagine seeing someone looking at your search history, like, why is she looking at ether
I
and
know,
chloroform?
I know I'm on a
What is she
list
planning?
somewhere. Hello? She's looking up ether or chloroform. Lots of fun things. Okay. You know, authors have this problem all the time. Especially like dark romance authors, like they're looking all this stuff up, right?
Oh yeah.
We're all on a list somewhere. I'm on the list with them. It's probably fine. No
Oh
big
my
deal. I needed
gosh.
to know. Okay, that's what the internet's for. It's for me to ask my weird questions. So again, the banter is still continuing, and then Bryce shuts the window in his face, where Hunt's intrusive thoughts he considers throwing her into the Istros River. This wholly serious killer had never had to deal with someone who isn't scared of him, right? Nonetheless has the balls to sass him. So I love Bryce so much. She is genuinely one of my favorite FMCs, like truly. So I relate to her a lot because my toxic trait is I also like sassing men who are much larger than I am, right? Like 6'4", I'm in your face. I'll stand up on a chair. I'm on a stool. I don't care. I'll be like
See,
right in there.
I feel like I'm unintentionally sassy to where I don't realize it, and then people call me out. I'm like, I didn't think I was, but I do lean into a lot of sarcasm. But I feel like there's a time and a place whenever she like closed the curtains and he's like, "Oh, open them because I wanted to watch TV," and she's
No,
like,
bro.
"No." I'm like, give the dude a bone or something. Like he's literally bored out of his mind. Like that's not gonna kill
He has a
anyone.
phone. He can look at his phone.
But then that like distracts from his mission of watching her.
That's not her problem. That's not a Bryce problem. That's a Hunt problem.
Oh my
I love
gosh.
Hunt. I do. I know. I know. But at this point, he does not deserve to watch TV. He has
Oh
been
my
mean to
gosh.
her. He being rude.
How is he being rude? He
He's
called
been
her
sassy with
sweetheart.
her. And he knows she knows that he doesn't want to be there, right? He knows, like
Ugh.
she knows. It's not like, oh, thank you for protecting me. She's like, I don't need protection. Like, I don't need you here, right? Like Bryce is not like, oh my gosh, help me, right? Like they're both being forced to be in the situation. So
Hunt, if you're watching, I would have let you watch TV. Watch all the Sunball you want.
watch all the here's a TV. Let me bring it over there for you.
Here's the guide.
Oh my gosh. So Hunt's really upset, right? He calls Isaiah, where we learn he is now on Sampson Street.
This girl's being
Which,
mean to me.
yes, exactly. And he's like, why are you on Sampson Street, first of all? Because the cameras and trackers are everywhere, right? Someone always knows where everybody is, especially him. So these cameras, it's noted, are bomb proof. So keep that in mind as well. Nothing is going to destroy these cameras. Hunt informs Isaiah that chimeras are legit amazing because they can pick locks, teleport, and go through walls and open doors. So Syrinx is like doing his own thing. He assumed that Bryce does not know any of this either because Hunt learned this happens because Syrinx appeared next to him across the street, bit him in the ass, and because he was falling asleep, and then disappeared back into the apartment. And Bryce opens the curtain just in time to see him grabbing his ass. When he flew over to tell her what happened, she ignored him and turned up her music. LOL.
Poor man.
Rolling on the floor.
I'm a hunt
he's like
sympathizer.
flying over to be like, what? And she's like, no.
This man is just trying to do his job.
And Syrinx is probably just like dying in the background, which is why I think Syrinx is the most dramatic character. Like, Syrinx is underrated.
Oh, for sure.
Hilarious. So Syrinx is it's considered a lower, right? So the lower is when Syrinx and his kind are all part of, like, they all have special, like, powers or odd powers, things like that. This is what gives them such a high value at the markets. This is also why every time someone tried to change the laws to give them some sort of rights or freedom, it's always shut down. The lowers will forever be born and known immediately as property only. They were too dangerous, and if it left unchecked, something could happen. And they're also super lucrative to richer families, so they profited off of them. This has nothing to do with anything at all. This next side note that I have, I just felt the need to say it on air, is that
Oh,
during this
jeez.
chapter, it literally is not important. I just think it's so weird and funny, is that you have like these wolf shifters, right? And these like,
Mm-hmm.
you have like these big angels and all these things. And then there is a family of quail shifters crossing the road.
That's cute.
And I just imagine like this big city and like all these like big, crazy, scary things. And this like little family of quail shifters just like, like if you've ever seen it, like like a flock of quail, I don't know, flock or whatever, of quail crossing the street
Mm-hmm.
or crossing they're adorable.
Oh yeah, I've never seen a quail, but where I live, we live near the woods, so we'll always hear like the Bob White quails, and they have like a
Mm-hmm.
really specific like whistle that you can mimic. And so every now and then, me and my dad will make the whistle, and they'll respond to us. So like we try to get them to come closer because I've never seen a quail, but he has, and they
Oh
just
my
look so
gosh.
cute and tiny.
Yeah, and it depends what like breed of quail it is. Like where I'm from originally, like the quail are like so small, and they run like so close together, and they just like zoom across the street so fast, like da 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 da. And so I just
Mm-hmm.
imagine this like little tiny quail family. Oh, also side note to last week, the question was posted like if you were a shifter, what kind of like what would you be? I figured out what I want to be.
Quail.
No, not that. As adorable as that is, I want to be a house cat.
Okay.
Not like a big cat. Not like a
Yeah.
mountain lion or like I just would like to be a house
I
cat.
wouldn't have a mountain lion in my house, so
Yeah, I think that being a house cat is my dream. I thought about it for a long time because I could go to whatever house I wanted, right? And just be like, adopt me. And then live there. And then if you, especially like in this day and age, a millennial,
mm.
they take care of their animals. I would be treated so well. I would be fed the best food. I would have all the cat houses that I could ever dream of. I could nap all day. And then when I want to, I would just leave and shift back to my human form and go on my way.
Oh, who does that
That's
remind
my
me
dream.
of? Like, there's an obvious answer, but there's someone else I'm thinking of. Oh, it kind of reminds me of Binks in Hocus Pocus.
Yes. Yes. Bink's energy for sure.
Mm-hmm. Ugh,
Yes. I am
such
domestic
a good
house
movie.
cat. That is me. That's what I
You're
want to
gonna
be.
turn me into one of those fat domestic house cats, and you'll be happy about it.
Or like Salem from like Sabrina the Teenage Witch,
Yeah, so sassy.
where
I
I just like
loved him.
ruled the house in my cat form. Yes. Amazing. So, Isaiah asks Hunt exactly why he is calling, since there is nothing legit wrong. He is just calling to bitch about Bryce, and he's losing his patience. I can only imagine what Isaiah's face looks like on the other end of this call. He is trying so hard not to laugh because the shadow of death is literally calling to bitch about a girl for the first time ever, right? So he does call him out that he is only mad because Bryce isn't cowarding. He's like, you are used to people like kneeling before you, essentially, or like running away from you. He also reminds him that he literally survived arenas that Sandriel put him in. He can handle Bryce.
But could you imagine like being put on watch 24 hours and all you want to do is just like have a little crumb of television and she's just like, "Phew, nope.
No.
Ugh.
I probably would have said no too.
Hunt, again, if
Like,
you're watching, I'll let you watch TV.
I would not let you watch TV. I'd be
You
like,
can
no,
watch
you're
K-pop
fine.
Demon Hunters together. You'll love it.
Oh my gosh. So Hunt is now being forced to sit outside a nail salon and watch Bryce get her nails done, which explains why he is on Sampson Street. He is convinced that she had something to do with all these murders now, right? Or knows more than she is saying, but doesn't know what. We know that Bryce is with a Draki female who is doing her nails. And just a reminder that the Drakis are in House of Flame and Shadow. So, side note, we learn that Draki and Fae could use element-based magic, but not one of them bore lightning, and there was no one around when Hunt was younger to teach him how to use his powers. So he ended up teaching himself. This is an Easter egg. This is foreshadowing. Not one other thing around Hunt when he was growing up had the same powers as him.
You want to know something very random? Another side note.
Yes.
I feel like he would make such a good teacher to Violet.
Oh my god, how cute
I
would
feel
that
like he'd
be?
be the best teacher.
Yes, he would. He would. I don't know if Zayden would let it happen, but yes.
I mean, I feel like they'd have a mutual, respectful understanding, but still, Zayden for sure would have like the jealous. Well, no. Ooh, I want to say a thing, but I don't want to spoil anything.
Don't
I
spoil it.
feel like,
Don't spoil it. No spoilers here.
I feel like Zayden would know deep in his soul that Hunt would never have any sort of other ulterior motives.
Mm-hmm.
Just gonna let that sit there.
Just put that little piece of crumb on there. So Hunt reminds Bryce that she is not following orders, right? And she does not care about this investigation, and her priorities are not straight. He demands the two lists again that he had previously requested, the one with the suspects and the previous places that Danica went before her death. He does try a scare tactic at this point, right? That if people see her not caring about this investigation, that it might look like she's impeding it. She shuts the door in his face at the gallery, and we finally get to know our glorious fire sprite, Lahaba. I am a die-hard Lahaba #1 fan. If you listen to our our Quicksilver deep dive, like, you know my love for fire sprites, but my love for fire sprites starts with this one right here. Okay, Lahaba loves Hunt because he's so handsome, and she doesn't understand why Bryce won't just let him in the door.
Same.
And he can rest. She's like, he can rest on the couch and be out of the rain. And Lahaba notes that Syrinx said Hunt can brush his coat if he needs something to do. In this, right now, Lahaba is the only one that can talk to Syrinx. Nowhere in the series does it say there's someone else able to communicate with Syrinx besides Lahaba. I just want that to be out there. Bryce also has a nickname for Lahaba. They have nicknames for each other. So Lahaba is Lily, and then Bryce is BB.
Which I don't know. Like, I love Lily, but I'm just like, Lahaba, it's still like, to me, it doesn't flow as well.
Lily.
Yeah, Lily with like the spelling enunciation, but I feel like nicknames usually come from like a portion of a name, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. They rhyme. Lily and BB.
Lily and BB, the best
And
of
BB.
buds.
Yes. So our Lily tells Bryce that one day Jessica will sell her to some creep and she will regret denying her anything. And as she pouts on a candlestick, we learn that she was stamped with the slave stamp at birth. SPQM. Every sprite was. Fire, water, or earth. Doesn't matter. This was the punishment for joining the rebellion. The sprite's punishment went further, though. Every sprite in the rebellion, and even the ones who did not join, would be enslaved and thrown out of the house of sky and breath. All of the future sprites would be this way as well. It is noted also that Lahaba's power was greater than Bryce's, but still small compared to like a Fae's flames, like her father's flames, right? The Autumn King. She wants Bryce to purchase her so that way she can live in her apartment. And even if she asks Jessica, she knows that Jessica would sell her to a terrible person just because she asks, right? Just because she brought it up. So we then have a full circle moment where we realize that Jessica let Bryce buy Syrinx because she was going through a lot in that moment, right? Obviously, because the last 2 years have been rough. And the thought of her selling him to someone else made her lose it. So it brings us kind of full circle to that moment where Hunt's like, well, that's a nice, like, lower animal you got there. You paid a lot of money for that. And she's like, yeah, I sure did. But like, he doesn't know that there's a reason for that, right? So Lily likes Hunt also because he led her people into battle and is a part of her house. She is reminded that she got kicked out of her house, but Lily says that being a part of a house is more than just what the government says, right? Being a part of a house is in your soul. It's in your heart. Immediately, a book falls off the shelf as if it was literally running away, and Lahaba hissed at it, and it got back on the shelf, and I love that for her. She's amazing. We also learned that Jessica is always watching the gallery in the video footage, and she reminds Bryce to stop letting the fire sprite lounge around and that she needs to get back to work.
Always
But
watching was
she's got those, yeah, exactly, always watching. She's got those books in check, though, so I don't know. But Jessica always watching the gallery is also something important to know about. So keep that one in your brain as well. It is noted that the library downstairs has more than just books. It has glass tanks full of turtles, snakes, rodents, and other fun creatures. Are they all people who made Jessica upset? I don't know. However, Lahaba names them all. Nutmeg and Ginger and Miss Poppy. However, the one thing she did not name was the Kelpie that lived in the large tank of water behind them, which was very quickly gifted to another client because it was terrifying. So now the tank sits empty, thankfully. Just before this chapter is wrapped up, we learn that Bryce is hiding something very big and has something planned that is going to seriously piss off our Shadow of Death. But the look on his face will be 100% worth it. End chapter 15.
Oh my gosh. Just let my boy watch some TV.
He does not get to watch TV. No TV for you.
One day, Hunt, one day.
One day.
Anywho, we go back to Mr. the Crown Prince of the Valvaran Fae, which I didn't realize how much they specifically say Ruin Danon, Crown Prince of the Valvaran Fae, until I did my reread. I'm like, I get it. Thank you. Yes,
I
I
love
see.
it.
I see.
Say it every single chapter.
Because the beginning of this chapter reminded me of another chapter, the way that it's like set up. I was like, hang on, but it's not that chapter.
It's not the one. We will get there. Not yet.
Such a good chapter.
It's so good.
Okay.
You guys will know soon. Don't worry.
Focus. So Ruin is in his room listening to music, getting high on Mirthroot as any emo kid does.
75 years old.
A 75-year-old emo kid. Probably listening to some My Chemical Romance or Pierce the Veil.
The elder millennial, a day to remember.
I love him so much. You want to know something so bad?
Yes.
So Rune is painted as it's the hair that I think triggered this for me. So he's painted as having like this long black hair but shaved on one side, yes?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It took me forever. God bless illustrators who make fan art because it like helps me see him in a different light. But whenever I first started reading, for whatever reason, if you've ever seen the movie Coco, and Miguel is in the world of the dead and he's doing their competition, there is a specific emo boy that has like the same exact hair as Rune, and for whatever reason I could only picture Rune as like this lanky little emo boy instead of like this strong muscular man that he is. You have to look up a photo. It is hilarious.
I'm literally looking it up right now. Oh my god, I forgot about that.
That is all I could picture him as, is, like, not this buff Fey warrior, but it's, like, this
No.
lanky emo kid.
Absolutely not.
I told my friend that, she's like, "You need to cut it out." So
For reference, we're gonna save this photo. It's gonna go in the show notes. Everyone else needs to see this monstrosity that she is comparing him to.
listen, since then, I have been thoroughly educated by illustrators and fan art creators, and I've learned more about Rune Danon and
No.
many other things, to where now I see him in the light that he should have been seen in the first place. But I did think of him as a little emo kid.
That's so funny and terrible at the same time. That's so cringe.
Fun fact.
Okay. Yeah, that photo will be in the show notes. You guys can all see and then make fun of Madison with me.
I welcome it. You know what? Be ruthless. I don't care.
Be
We're hanging out with our
ruthless.
little emo boy in his room.
Yes, our emo boy listening to music. Let's go.
He's jamming out, listening to Black Parade when he was a young boy, his father, all that jazz. Um, and he is just vibing, and then all of a sudden, he smells a smelly smell that happens to be a familiar smell, and he opens his eyes, and what do you know? Bryce is there. And he was like, "What?" And she's like, "You need to turn down your music, little emo boy." So Bryce is visiting Rune, and she wants to ask him questions, but she sees the state that he's in, and she's like, "Okay, come with me. Like, you need water, because I'm not dealing with you like this." So once we leave Rune's room, we go downstairs to where we meet his roommates. So his roommates do not know that Bryce and Rune are half siblings. They think that they are cousins, just like majority of the world. But we have Declan Emmett. He is a hacker for the Republic, and he hacks
Mhm.
into websites and essentially forces them to reveal their secrets. Um, I forgot about him for like a little bit and what he did, but I was like, oh wait, I like this kid. Never mind.
We love
Um,
Declan.
but I'm so interested in the other roommate, who is Tristan Flynn. He has a little bit of a lineage to him, to where
Yes,
he
he
is
does.
the son of Lord Hawthorne. And he has a little bit of earth magic, which
Mhm.
is very, very rare among the fire prone Valvaran Fae. And he essentially has a little bit of a history with Bryce.
Mhm.
He constantly flirts with him. And we learn in later chapters that, like, sometimes Bryce would just, you know what, humor it a little bit. I love Tristan Flynn so much, and I can't wait for you all to learn about him in future books.
Yeah, he's a great character. Honestly, all both of them, like Declan and Tristan, are like solid characters the whole
Mm-hmm.
time. So remember their names, remember who they are, because they are very important.
Mm-hmm. But to
Yes.
me, out of the two of them, Tristan Flynn just has that sort of je ne sais quoi to him.
Oh my
Hello, that's a book. I got too worked up. Um, but essentially, Declan and Tristan are to Rune, kind of like what Azriel and Cassian are to Rhysand.
god.
So
Mhm.
they have this close bond growing up. They all trained together. They did the ordeal together, which was a
Mhm.
very bonding experience for them because they almost died during it.
Yeah.
Um, they also acted as each other's anchors during the drop. Um, but as they are talking, and Bryce is having Rune kind of sober up a little bit so they can have a serious adult conversation. Bryce asks Declan to get her information on the Viper Queen, since Maximus Tertian was murdered on the Viper Queen's turf, which is the meat market.
Mhm.
So Bryce has him do that, and Rune is everyone's kind of like, why are you wanting this information? And she says that the governor commissioned her to find the murderer. And with that information, Rune still is kind of like, don't mess with this. And Bryce is like, this is kind of my job right now, so deal with it. But Rune shares that the Viper Queen pulled her people that night, before the murder happened because something spooked her, and we don't know what it was. But for something
Mm-hmm.
to spook the Viper Queen, that is a big deal because Homegirl is not scared of anything. She or Rune also warns Bryce to not take off the Archisan amulet if she is going into this business with the Viper Queen, just like Danica did. And I thought that was very, very notable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
But as they're having the little talk, Rune is still like kind of against it, not wanting Bryce to do any of these dangerous
Mm-hmm.
things. And as Bryce is leaving, Rune clocks Mr. Hunt Athalar waiting for
Hee
her. And he was like, hold up. So he goes out to confront Hunt. And I thought it was hilarious to learn that they had a history together.
Oh my god.
And the fact that Rune and Hunt fought at Micah's spring equinox party to the point to where Hunt broke some of her. No, it was Rune who broke some of Hunt's ribs,
Yep.
and Hunt broke Rune's nose.
Yep.
And I was like, wow, that it's
Just
funny.
a little fist fight.
Boys will be boys.
Our two favorite boys duking
Ugh.
it out. Hunt won though.
Did he? I didn't think it was like this. I mean,
It was kind of even, but I think Hunt won that.
I'll say it's a
He
draw.
did such a good job that Micah like forgave him.
That's true.
Micah was like,
I'm
because you
surprised that
looked
Micah
good
wasn't
doing it.
like, yeah, he sure
If
did
he
look
would
good
have
doing it.
lost, like if he would have gotten his ass kicked, I think it would have been different, right? Like you embarrassed me. But because like
Yeah.
I think he fought better than Rune in the moment, he chose not to punish him. So that tells me that Hunt won that fight.
Yeah, which I'm also intrigued as to why Micah didn't punish him, like even just like a little slap on the wrist, because it's still a fight, you know?
Yeah, I get it. I don't know. I think if he would have lost or if he would have looked bad in any way, it would have been different. But I think because like they were like, oh, the Umbra Mortis, like just
Mm-hmm.
put the crown prince of the Balvaran Fae in his place.
Yeah.
Micah was like, fine. I
I'll
guess I
give
won't
you a
do
gold
anything this
scar.
time. Yeah, like I won't kill you, so congrats. You
That's a big win.
live another day. For real.
But the way that this chapter ends, it ends on a really interesting quote. And again, this is all from Rune's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But the quote is, could it be a coincidence that the murders were starting again at the same time his father had given orders to find an object that had gone missing a week before Danica's death? It felt odd, like Erd was whispering, nudging them all. Rune planned to find out why, starting with finding that horn. And the reason why this was so interesting to me is because if you've read Throne of Glass, there are two characters I think of immediately whenever I think of gods and their influences on people.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout that story, they are constantly referring to a certain god that they think either represents them or is like specifically watching over them. So the fact that he says that Rune says it feels like Erd is whispering and nudging them, I'm like, that's very interesting information.
I agree. That is interesting information. And for those who do not remember, Erd is an ancient, powerful entity often described as a force of fate or destiny. They are considered more primal than Luna, and Luna again is the patron goddess of Lunathian, now known as Crescent City, and the moon goddess of Midgard. So that's kind of a reference of like who those ones are if you forgot. So no, I agree. I think that's definitely like an interesting thing that maybe we will come back to later at a different point in time.
Probably. I honestly
So,
can't remember. It's been so long since I've read these books the first time.
yeah, it's been a long time. So, chapter 17, Bryce and Hunt are walking. Bryce hands a piece of paper to Hunt with a list of suspects, but quickly snaps it back. She doesn't let him have it for very long. She makes a snide remark that she would have given him this list sooner, but he was too busy assuming things about her and that she didn't care about this case because she was getting her nails done instead of investigating, which is why Hunt does not get to watch TV right now.
R.I.P.
He has to
A
earn the TV.
tragedy.
He was mean. However, Bryce informs Hunt that she looked into Maximus Tertian, who again was the guy who was murdered, the vampire who was murdered outside of the meat market, and doesn't believe like him and Danica knew each other, right? She's like, I looked into it and I don't think they know each other. And the reason why she knows this is because she looked him up on a dating site and saw that he was in a relationship with a drocky female, a nail technician who happened to work at a salon on Sampson Street.
Wow.
Hunt Athalar. So, our nail tech that we went and got our nails done with is devastated at the loss of her rich boyfriend. She didn't know anything about the investigation, but she knows that the 33rd did speak to her for a moment. It's so odd that Hunt did not know this.
I think it's odd that the 33rd don't know a lot of things that Bryce
Yeah,
has
I
to
was like,
find out.
yeah, I was like, you guys literally spoke to her. You know, like, how do you not know
Mhm.
what you got Bryce's phone number out of the file, supposedly? Why did you not look and see that you guys did an interview with the girlfriend of the murder suspect? Come on,
Yeah,
police force.
sometimes I feel like they're not using their brain, because especially when things be thinking and we learn information,
Mm-hmm.
and because like reading this the second time, I know the things, but I'm like trying to piece the information as like, oh, maybe I missed this Easter egg, or like, oh yeah, this points
Right.
to this. But like the very end, honestly, I forgot about an important thing. But I was just like, and you guys didn't think to check this? Like,
Yeah.
stupid.
Hello?
Are you sure you're a police force? Is this
Yeah,
your first day?
it was wild. I was like, what do you mean? The 30 heard literally did an interview with her and he's like, did not know. And so when Bryce mentions Danica to the nail tech, she knows for sure that Maximus was not friends with Danica because the girlfriend's like, he would have bragged about that to everybody. Like Danica was too important. Everybody knows who Danica is, right? So the only common thing that they had was one person, the Viper Queen, right? Leader of the meat market. And that's who gets her nails done on Sundays. Dun dun dun. So Danica's job in the Ox made her a contact with the Viper Queen. And we know, again, that the Viper Queen pulled her people in the night before. So she could be a major suspect for sure. She's like on the list. Hunt wants to set up an official meeting with the Queen, but she plays by her own rules. So the odds of getting a meeting, like an official meeting, is going to take a long time, right? We then kind of go back a little bit to the previous chapter where of Rune and when Bryce told him all these things. She knows he can't help but tell the Autumn King, again, their father, about all of it, right? And how the Autumn King reacts will tell them where he lands in this investigation. She doesn't think, like Bryce doesn't think he's a suspect, but he did tell her to stay out of trouble the night of Maximus's murder, and he would do anything to protect his crown and his power. So he is on the list, but it will tell us whether or not he should stay on that list when he reacts to Rune. So they go their separate ways at her apartment, and then Bryce then arms herself with a knife and something bigger on her person. She left the lights and TV on, and the curtains like closed just enough to not see the front door, and she sneaks out of the rear stairwell. She gets on her scooter and drives into traffic, leaving Hunt on the rooftop across. I rolled my eyes so hard at this because she then arrives at a warehouse where some sketchy things are happening, right? Right outside of the meat market, again, where the Viper Queen is in charge of. Just as she parks and gets off her scooter, the Umbra Mortis slams down next to her with full force, scaring everyone around them, and proceeds to tell Bryce he is going to fucking kill her. She knows. He can smell her. There's scent everywhere. There is no sneaking around. There's no sneaky. Unless you rub mud all over yourself. Then and he's gonna smell mud and be like, what is that? Like, girl, you're not going anywhere. It killed me.
Yeah.
I laughed. But what a good ending to chapter 17 though. Like, he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Whenever he found out that she snuck out, I was like,
I
my manager's trying to do his job.
know. He probably rolled his eyes too. He's like, oh my god, here we go.
I feel like Bryce literally just sits in her apartment. She's like, how can I make this simple task even more difficult?
Yes. How can I upset Hunt Athalar today?
Or not even today, just how can I upset him within this hour?
It's been an hour. He seems pretty
He's
content. Let me
due.
do something dumb.
He seems too comfortable. Let's
And
fix
that's
that.
why she is my girl.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
I'm 100% here for it.
Ugh. we're in the meat market with Bryce and Hunt, bless him. And this is through Hunt's perspective, which I enjoyed getting his perspective. I like whenever stories give multiple perspectives.
Yes.
It's very refreshing.
She did a great job with it too. Like, it's an easy for me, at least, it's an easy
Easy to
transition of like,
follow.
now we're in
Yeah.
Rune's mind, and now we're in Bryce's mind, and now we're in Hunt's mind. So like,
Mhm.
I like that we get the different, instead of like a whole chapter of like, now we're through, like, point of previews. I like that she just easily glides back and forth.
Yeah. So we're in the meat market. We're with Bryce. We're with Hunt. It's through his perspective, which is really, really fun. And Hunt is painting a beautiful well, not it's not a beautiful, meat market's not beautiful, but he's painting a picture for us of what everything looks like. He's taking notes of all the vendors. One thing in specific he takes note of is there is a mosaic in town that is depicting a Pangira temple with Death holding an hourglass in one hand and a scythe, I believe it's called, in the other, with above it reading Memento Mori, which essentially translates to remember you will die. So they kind of
Memento
lived by
mori.
this motto in the meat market because they're like, doing illegal things doesn't matter. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to die anyway, so who cares? Backstabbing people doesn't matter. I'll see you later. So this is like their motto, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Bryce apparently has unknown history with the meat market that Hunt does not know of until now. So as they're walking, Bryce is kind of cataloging and breaking things down for Hunt. She points out a metal worker that Bryce has a history with, and that metal worker will actually ID artifacts for her, letting her know if something is authentic or not.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a fruit lady that carries Syrinx's favorite food, which I thought was very, very cute.
Thank you, fruit lady,
Thank
for
you,
making
fruit
Syrians
lady.
happy.
And see, it's because of his favorite food that Bryce buys, which is why Syrinx is so high maintenance and
Yes.
bossy and
High
sassy.
maintenance dog cat line pug thing. Wild.
But eventually, whenever they're walking through the meat market, Bryce walks into a warehouse of a building to specifically seek out this salt vendor. And again, Hunt is taking catalog of everything, especially all of the different salts that are being offered. So he mentions the different colors. There is white that is used for purification, pink that is used for protection, red he doesn't remember, therefore we don't know what red means. And then there is the black salt, which is summoning.
Mm-hmm.
And so people can buy black salts, which is very, very illegal, very, very no. But you know what? Memento mori. And black salt can essentially be used to summon any creatures or demons from different rifts. And Hunt really doesn't like this salt because that is his job. Hunt's job is to go out and take care of demons that break through
Mm-hmm.
these rifts. Um, Not gonna lie, whenever I read this chapter, like Bryce is girl bossing, she's getting the things done, but
Mm-hmm.
I almost felt sorry for the vendor because, like, dang, she's going in hard
Oh,
and just
yeah, no,
tearing this
she
guy
is
apart.
relentless. But also he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't sell anything." Which, like, fair,
Yeah.
right? You literally have someone from the 33rd behind her, and she's like, "Yes, you do." Like, she knows exactly what she's doing. She's incredibly intelligent. She's very smart. And I every time that we get a little bit further into this book, like, Hunt's like, "Oh my god. This girl kind of knows what she's doing." Just a little bit, right?
Because, listen, in this moment, it's that clip that's been going around where it's like, you don't understand that I'm clocking on business. Bryce is clocking on
Yes.
business.
Is it is that what it says?
Yeah.
Who is that? That's Justin Bieber?
Yeah, because I've seen people use it talking about Kale and Selena. Because Kale is like, "You're an assassin and you kill people," and she's like, "That's the job. Like, what do you mean?"
Yeah.
And so it's like Justin Bieber, but Selena's perspective, and it's like, "You don't understand. I'm clocking on business."
Wild.
So Bryce, she do be clocking on business, and she
She got
is
business.
she is really going in with this guy, being like, "I need black salt, 7 pounds." Think 7 ounces as well. No more, no
Mhm.
less.
The lucky
Um,
number.
and the poor little, it's not a centaur, but he's some sort of, he has a little bit of goat in him. But he's just like, he's quaking in his boots. And he's
I
like,
mean,
I
as
don't
he
know what
should
you're
be.
talking about. And Bryce is like, you know what? I'm not only here for me, but I'm here for Jezebel. And if you don't give Jezebel what she needs, I got some friends that are coming in and they'll get what I need for me. And he's still like being like, I don't have it, I don't have it. And Homeboy is sweating at this point. And meanwhile, Bryce is showing Hunt photos of puppies that her cousin got. And eventually this vendor cracks and he's like, fine, I'll get you the salt. So he gives her the salt. It's a little bit more than what Bryce is asking for, but he's like, you know what, just take it. Just get out of my hair. Leave me alone. Don't tell anyone that I sold it to you. Um, but we also learn in this area as well, whenever Bryce is pushing him about this salt that he doesn't have, she also calls him out for also being the seller who sold the salt to Philip Briggs, who was planning to blow up the White Raven.
Mhm.
Um, so essentially, Bryce does buy the salt. Hunt is really perplexed as to why she is buying the salt. And he's like, guess I'll find out later. But you know what? Later never comes because as soon as they walk out that door, got a Viper Queen waiting for them right there.
Salt in bag.
She's like, not on my watch.
Yeah, wild. Yeah, Viper Queen is waiting for them right outside. So that kind of wraps up chapter 18. Into chapter 19, we are in the same scene, right? So Bryce, with her bag on her shoulder, surveyed the queen in front of her. Sharp white teeth and snake like eyes with purple lips. She mentions, like the Viper Queen mentions, that Hunt is a nice bodyguard, but Bryce mentions that he is all bronze and no brains.
Rude.
LOL. She knew who he was though, right? Like his story but she knew him as the General Hunt Athalar from the rebellion, not necessarily the Umbra Mortis Shadow of Death or the slave to Micah. It is mentioned that the queen has 4 guards of her own here. Faye, who defected out of her father's court, again, the Autumn King and the Five Roses, who specialize in weapons and in venoms/poisons. So the queen notes the salt in Bryce's possession. She could taste the air, the salt's in the bag, and she could also taste fear. She mentions that she heard about them both going around town, but Hunt tells her it's classified. He's like, I can't tell you anything. They do attempt to leave, but a guard steps in front of Bryce. He really wasn't there though, like because mentally he wasn't there because he is addicted to the queen's venom. Okay. This will be important in upcoming books. So please keep this info in your mind. Like the queen gives out a venom that when you take it, you become addicted to it. The Viper Queen mentions things are getting interesting with the summit coming up and invites them over to her office. Just as Hunt is about to say no, Bryce heads right that direction. She's like, great, let's go. Hunt realizes then that she only bought this salt because it would get the queen's attention because they did not have weeks to wait for a meeting that may or may not happen. And again, Bryce shines above all, and people need to stop assuming stuff about her, Hunt included. So, just as we expect a beautiful office with lush furniture, we see a really gross, bland office with broken furniture, peeling paint, boxes everywhere, okay? This office is like trashed. The Viper Queen, leader of the meat market, spent her time in this hollow space. It was not what they expected, right? Her power, then, the Viper Queen's power, is explained finally, sort of. Her snake shift is a moon white cobra with scales that gleamed like opals. Her power was different, mixed with her venom. It was strange and old. She knew that Danica and the relationship was a working one, right? To get things done, the 33rd and the Ox have to work with those in the shadows. It's just a part of the job. She also notes that Maximus Tertian was an idiot, basically, but she would not be stupid enough to mess with him because of who his father was. If you guys remember back in other episodes, like his father was a really powerful lord of a vampire lord. She can also taste in the air when things are getting bad, like a bad energy in the air. And that's why she said she pulled her people in. She had a bad feeling. She has no idea who killed him, but she's like, he was probably showing up for drugs. She's like, this happens sometimes, right? Like he was kind of a bad guy. But it's also noted that there was no drugs in his system. So she's like, I don't know what happened to him then. She then hands over a flash drive to Hunt with 2 alibis on it. One for the night of Maximus's murder, she was at the spa, and the second one with the Pax murder, where she was at a 3-day orgy drop party. Good for you, girl. You do
Ayo.
you. And Hunt's like, I don't want to watch this. He's like, I'll just take your word for it. So she gives them a pretty big piece of advice for their investigation. She says, look to where it hurts the most. That's always where the answers are. As they are escorted out of the meat market, the flash drive and salt in tow, she says, don't underestimate the obsidian salt. It can bring out the worst from hell. Hunt, again, believes her alibi and doesn't think she has anything to do with it, but notes in his mind that Jessica and Bryce are still suspects. So, like, as they're walking away, he's like, all right, like, I believe her, but, like, Jessica and Bryce are still, like, kind of high up on the list. Bryce, we know, has a lot of thinking to do tomorrow because now she kind of has a direction to go in as far as where this case is going, right? So Hunt attempts to ask for the salt, but for now, it's for Bryce's burgers. He's like, what is the salt for? She's like, well, to season my burgers, bro. Love her. Keep that in mind, too. That's an Easter egg as well. And until he stops being an alpha hole, she's not telling him anything. It's not happening.
Oh, Hunt.
End scene. Da-da-da-da.
You know, a funny thought I had. I forgot exactly what you said, but I think it was something like Hunt wasn't gonna say anything, but I was like, what if he was like, you know what? If you let me watch some Sunball, might let some slip.
My
Because
partner
this
with
girl
her.
isn't letting me watch TV, but like, if you let me watch some Sunball,
I will
I got some
unclassify
information
this
for you.
for you. Yeah, he's like, I'm so bored. Please help me. Send help. He like leaves a note on her ruined desk. Please help me. Oh my gosh, can you even imagine?
Oh,
I
jeez.
love that.
That'd be hilarious.
The holidays may seem far away, but they are approaching fast. Consider giving the gift of reading this year to your loved ones and yourself as well. Shop our favorite selection of Kindles right in the Goodish Girls Amazon storefront. And don't forget, we are giving you 1 free month of Kindle Unlimited when you sign up for the Kindle Unlimited membership. Find the link right in our show notes. All right, so that brings us to the conclusion of our guided tour of Crescent City, chapters 14 through 19. If you are sticking around for the House of Theories and lore, hang out. If not, again, if you have not finished this series and you do not want any spoilers, please go read some more chapters, finish the book, and then once you're done with this book, then you can come back and listen to the end of all of these episodes. Or you are welcome to stick around if you don't care about spoilers. If that is your prerogative, more power to you. But if you are not sticking around, thank you for joining us and the Goodish Girls. My name is Dallas.
I'm Madison.
Woo! All right, guys, House of Theory and Lore. It is time. I have one big question this week.
I snuck a look at your big question.
It's a big question. Who is the Viper Queen really? Who is she truly, right? We know next to nothing about her. We know that she has old powers and it was mixed with her venom and something strange. That's what we know, right? We know in this series she was likely around for the fall of Midgard, making her pretty freaking old. There are notes about her possibly being connected to the Valg because she has black blood and she does blood oaths, right? Which we know that there are blood oaths in like Throne of Glass. Can you give us a better explanation? Because I know you are a Throne of Glass queen. What does that look like, right?
The
With
trauma is
like
still fresh.
Maeve and that kind of stuff. So like, and how does that relate, do you think?
So essentially, in the fake culture of Throne of Glass, you don't necessarily have to be okay. I'll try to sum it up super duper quick. So the Vogue, you don't want to be a Vogue. They're essentially these beings. They're kind of like
You don't want to be that.
they're kind of like an infestation. Like they're almost parasitic in a sense, if you will. And you don't necessarily need to be Vogue to make a blood oath, but it is a strong tie that you can make with someone It's in the name where essentially you make a vow and then someone drinks a little bit of your blood. Um, so whenever you make a blood oath, you are essentially bound to this person. And depending on what your oath is, it's also kind of like making a bargain. And as we know, you got to
Mm-hmm.
be really careful with those. So depending on that blood oath, the people within that oath can give commands to one another. I was gonna get an example, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that because I don't know. Um,
This is spoiler zone. So
okay,
you can
so
say
like,
we say this is where we say all things. So if you want to,
okay,
it's everything's good.
if you haven't read Throne of Glass, earmuffs. But essentially, like one example is, um, Maeve, I almost called her a different character in a different book. Maeve made a blood oath for Lorcan, for example, where like
Mm-hmm.
his thing is he has to, or no, it was with Fenris and Gavriel that they were tasked to kill Lorcan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's essentially like a very evil symbiotic relationship, kind of.
Yeah.
Um, And essentially, if you were to break a blood oath, like you're done, like immediately death.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's now that I like just finished Throne of Glass like a couple months ago. I didn't even now that I know what a Volg is, that's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's many speculations that people think Reese is Volg, which I don't know. After someone pointed out one of the bonus chapters in CC3 where I'm like, that's not the Resand I know. That is not Resand behavior. Because one way that you can know if someone is Volg, they make um, artifacts, whether it is a black collar or a black ring.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, I'm about to hurt my own feelings because I saw this yesterday. So someone thinks that um, Azrael not necessarily is Volg, but like he has the potential because
Where are their receipts?
because he okay, so people are comparing Azrael to Kaltain, and in Throne of Glass, she always complains of these headaches that she has.
Mm-hmm.
Azrael also mentions getting headaches to the point to where that's actually one of his solstice gifts from Elaine. So people are like speculating, like, what if Azrael's having a little bit of a Kaltain situation? It makes me really, really sad to think about.
Because like you mean like when the Vogue like already had her?
So like in the process, because she keeps on, and who else? Someone was also complaining of headaches, but that's like essentially a sign that
Mm-hmm.
you are in the process of being infested.
Interesting. Hmm.
Because I don't want him to be Fog, but people also think that Rhysand might be like a descendant of Maeve, which I could also kind of see.
Well, and then it goes back to the theory that I have heard, and I don't know if there's any basis to this either, like that Moore is like part of Maeve or is Maeve or a descendant of Maeve.
I don't know
So
about
what if
more.
I don't know. I don't know anything about her, but I think that it's too like obvious for her to be the bad guy. But also there's a lot of mystery behind her.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So I don't think Sarah would do that to us
Well,
with Rosand.
oh, I think she loves Rhysand too much.
Correct.
If this was Rebecca Yaros, Rebecca would.
Sacrifice them all.
Because she went into Fourth Wing knowing that she was gonna. If you
Kind
haven't
of
read
kill.
Fourth Wing, I
Yeah.
won't spoil it, but she wrote one character knowing that he was gonna get got as soon as she wrote him.
The song Eternity by Alex Warren gets me every day.
I am guilty of making a really sad Throne of Glass edit to that song.
You're one of them.
I am one of them
No.
because I saw an
Ew.
opportunity and I'm like,
Cannot.
it'd make good content.
No. But then bringing it back though, like to the Viper Queen. So because we know that Therian in like future books takes the blood oath from her,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like,
I don't think that necessarily makes him Volg. I just think that is he made a blood oath. Because, like, Aelin makes, which, side rant, Throne of Glass, you probably weren't expecting it. I felt so bad for Aedion. Homeboy wanted a blood oath so
so
bad.
bad.
And she was
He's
like, we'll get
thirsty.
there. But first, Rowan, blood oath. Fenris, blood oath.
Yes.
Gabriel, blood oath.
She
Lorcan,
like
blood oath.
can't.
And then, like, Aedion, I'll pencil you in. I felt so bad. I was like, someone
He was
give this
like,
boy an oath.
please give him a glass of water. He's so thirsty.
I feel
Oh,
so bad for him. And I know
could
people love
not.
to hate on Aedion so much.
Adian smiled. Rowan,
Ugh,
who is that?
insert eagle screech.
Ah!
I also, speaking of Throne of Glass and Crescent City, I need Sarah J. Maas to hold my hand and just, I need more clarification on how these worlds are happening and when they're happening. Because as we know from Throne of Glass, spoiler alert, whenever she is falling through worlds,
Mm-hmm.
she falls through Crescent City. We don't really know at what point she does,
Yeah, she just sees it.
but specifically whenever she's falling through Valaris, it is, I think, somewhere in between, or no, I think
Faber's
it's,
pregnant.
yeah, I think it's during
So it's in
Silver
Silver
Flames.
Flames. Yes.
So there's that of like there already being an established timeline.
Mm-hmm.
But people are theorizing that Midgard is like the Throne of Glass world because we have Lydia and her sons, who she specifically names after Brennan, who is in Throne of Glass, and she says that she names him that because she is a descendant of Brennan. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like, so are these happening simultaneously? Is she truly a descendant? And like in
Well,
Crescent
because
City
Aelin is a
world?
descendant, right? Of Brennan as well. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So what if they're sisters? Because if they're happening simultaneously, the three universes are at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, right? And she says that she's a descendant and she like has kids that she named after, right? And we know it's happening together.
Mm-hmm.
What if she is not a descendant of Aelin, but she is a sister to Aelin or some sort of relation currently to Aelin?
Okay. Or do you think it's like an alternative universe to where like if Aelin was in Crescent City, she is Lydia? Because like one thing that made me really really sad whenever I read it is whenever they go to the Viper Queen's office and they describe like what everything looks like,
Mm-hmm.
they, I think they mention it in this chapter. I know it's mentioned for sure in the later books of the fighting pit, and I'm like, what if it's the same pit that Sam fought in Throne of Glass? R.I.P. my Shayla.
Oh. Hmm. So like do you mean like so in our world there's the theory of there are infinite number of universes and in each universe there is some you are there but you are something different?
Maybe because I feel like there's, this is why I need Sarah to hold my hand. Because
For real.
people think that like Rune and Resand are related, but what if Rune is
It
just
is Resand
Resand?
in an alternate universe.
Yeah,
Hmm. And Jessica is more and the Viper Queen is uh Amryn.
maybe. I don't know. I had another point to bring up too.
But then who
I
would be
forgot.
Bryce? I don't
Nesta.
know. That's
Because I feel
maybe
like people compared them a bunch and they do get along.
They do get along, and Nesta does have that connection with Bryce's mom.
And the star, bro.
And the star.
I have a theory that I am sitting on until I think it's chapter 29, where I like went so far down a rabbit hole and I was like typing out so many things. It's like, but wait, there's this theory and then this theory connects to this theory. And I have something so
Yes,
good.
bust out the strings, the
I
sticky notes.
Listen, who do you think ACOTAR 6 is going to follow?
So I have a couple different of ideas for this. So part of me thinks that because I think Sarah J. Maas's favorite number is 3.
Interesting.
And the reason why I think this is because in her books, when she uses repetitive wording, she usually uses it in 3 or more, right? Down and down and down and around and around and
Mm,
around. Okay, so you have 3 series, right? You have
mm-hmm.
ACOTAR, Throne of Glass, Crescent City. In
Mm-hmm.
ACOTAR, you have 3 books, 1, 2, 3. Then you have a novella. Then you are on book 1. Is it one
Mm.
of 3 and then a novella? If it is this the finishing of Nesta's story? Does Nesta get 2
Uh-uh.
more books? No, don't say
I
no. Hold on. Hold on. Let me finish my dream. Nesta gets 2 more books and then a novella and then Elaine because there's 3 sisters.
mm,
And then it would be even, right? So that is one thought. My other thought is that she's going to leave Nesta as is for now, and then she's going to move on to Elaine because I think each sister will get their point of view done. Okay, now say. Now I've crushed my dreams.
listen, in my opinion, it's a missed opportunity. So the way that Crescent City 3 ends, a part of it, is whenever Bryce is returning the mask to Nesta, she specifically says, "Go find out what your tattoo means."
Yeah, it's a perfect entry point for another Nesta book.
Exactly. So I'm like, if she doesn't continue with Nesta and if we just like let that flow, I mean, I I love Nesta and I want her to have another book and I really do not
Yes.
want her finding out what her tattoo means and I don't want that to be like a side quest story. I want it to be the main thing.
It's Nesta main character energy.
Ugh, and I want more of her in the Valkyries.
Yes. I want her in Valkyries. I want her in Cassian. I want all Nesta things. Please
Have
be a Nesta book.
you seen the theory of Nesta and Cassian not being real mates?
I don't actually want to talk about that, but thank you.
I see your opinion. I hear it, but next.
No, thank you.
It hurts my feelings, but I can kind of see people's
Nope.
thoughts.
Nope. I can't do
I
it.
I think what would be fun, and I know people might agree, but I think it'd be a fun thought, is if the real love triangle, instead of it being Elaine, Lucian, and Azriel, if it was Cassian, Nesta, and Eris.
So there is a chapter that I think was written, never published, of Cassian, Azrael, and Nesta.
Oh, 100%. There was yep, I know exactly what you're talking about, and she wrote it, and then the publisher's like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah." Same thing with Lorcan did.
Right?
I knew that line, and I knew I was gonna be pretty pissed before I, like, finally
So
got to that
Lorcan did.
line. That sentence is the bane of my existence.
It kills me. I
I
can't.
hate
Yes,
it.
I hate it. I hate it. So the question: who is the Viper Queen really? I I would like to know, especially if the next ACOTAR book is about Nesta and it does cross over with Crescent City. Where are we going to find out more?
I kinda
I
don't
don't
want
know.
it to cross over again, not gonna lie.
It has to,
I
right?
mean, like, I know it, like, I can see, like, I'm fine with the histories crossing over, but to me, my brain didn't really compute well with Bryce and Valaris. I don't know, it felt too weird.
I hear you, but also they're at the end of the series, they're running out of power. So do they have to open up another portal to try and figure that out? I don't know. Is there going to be problems in Valaris that Nesta has to open a portal somehow, some way with maybe the harp and get Bryce's help this time? Also, we have the Star Sword and Azrael's stuff that needs to be together too. So like I think the odds of a crossover not happening are pretty slim.
I don't know. I feel like, again, I feel like I can see the histories crossing over. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll find out. I
I
don't know.
kind of
That's
just want
those are
everyone
my
to stay in
questions
their own
today.
world.
Those are my questions. Who is the Viper Queen truly? Do you have any stuff you want to throw in today?
Just the thing with the pit. That was the only
Okay.
thing that I really had. Ooh, wait. No. Well, kind of. Because whenever we were talking about Rune and the ordeal / the oracle, they
Mm-hmm.
say that that makes up 2 great rites, like in their culture. And in
Yes.
Akatar, they just have the blood rite.
Right.
But I'm like, what if there's a rite that we don't know about? Because I
There
feel like
might be.
the rite, also the rite isn't strictly, I would say, Fae. It's Illyrian.
Right. But here it's for the Fae. And they also mention a worm, which I thought was fun.
Because I think, hear me out, I feel like there are ordeals and maybe an oracle. Hold on. I'm thinking of this as I'm talking. So I feel like the blood rite, even though in Valaris they call it a rite, I feel like that is more of just like a structured ordeal
Mm-hmm.
that they go through. And Farah, now being fairy, I think she had her ordeal, which is before she turned, and that could have been her fighting the wyvern, even though it's like part of her trials. But like I feel like
Mm-hmm.
Sarah saying that in this book and bringing it up again, like she didn't have to, but she did. And what if, I feel like kind of the bone carver could be like an oracle in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Probably. Yeah. I mean, he can see a lot of things.
And there's the theory that he shows people what will kill them.
I have heard that.
So, and I also think, like, even though people say that Elaine's power, and I think it's even stated in the book, because I want to say Azriel's the one that clocks her, or maybe it's Lucian, where they're like, oh, you're a seer. But I'm like, what if Elaine is like now essentially just an oracle?
That's also possible. Those are all
Just a
good
thought.
thoughts. All good thoughts. Amazing. And until next week, my friends, thank you for hanging out with the House and Theory of Lore. My name is Dallas.
I'm Madison.
We'll see you next week.
Toodles.
Can't get enough of the Goodish Girls? Follow us on social media for sneak peeks at our upcoming episodes and bonus content.